Your journey to the unknown begins now. Have your boarding passes ready.
All right. Welcome to the Supernatural Station podcast, the only train ticket that takes you further and further into the abyss of the unknown. I'm your host, Jaron Daniels, and I'm with my twin brother, Roman Daniels. How you doing today, Rome?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. How you doing?
Super good. I'm excited. Any day we're doing a podcast, I'm excited, but I'm excited to talk to this gentleman. His name's Gio, and we actually met him super happenstance. We were in Phenomicon having a good time with chopping it up with a bunch of people. And it just felt like we knew this guy forever. And one thing led to another. We all investigated Space Wolf research together and got to know each other really well. We had some awesome pizza at this pizza joint, just all this good stuff. Found out later that Gio has had all kinds of paranormal experiences, and he has his own YouTube channel called Eerie Expeditions, which we'll plug again. But we appreciate you being with us, Gio. We're really excited to talk to you. How you doing tonight, brother?
Doing good, guys. Just got home from the rat race, they call it, and just been relaxing now, playing some Arc Raiders, which I should be editing, so I'm kind of upset with myself right now.
Hey, you know what? Arc Raiders is keeping your mind snappy, you know?
That's what I tell the wife, yeah.
You're like, I got good coordination, all right? So just let me do it.
Can't focus all the time on doing work, Sometimes you just gotta veg out and just lay out,
Yeah.
I feel you.
Yeah, and in my defense, I haven't gamed in a long time, so I just, had a little fun with this one.
I think you're close in our age group. We grew up in the era where we had no phones for a while, then we went into no internet, then it was internet, then it was pagers, then it's cell phones, then it's Oregon Trail when you're a kid. So you know what? The elementary schools, you guys screwed us up. You're the ones that made us gamers at the beginning, and then we've been gamers ever since. So I play Red Dead Redemption all the time, so I feel you, and I know we need to play one of these days.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, man, it's good to have you on here, talk about some of this paranormal stuff. What I'd like to ask you is, since we don't know too much about you yet, we know that obviously we're friends now, and we've gotten to know that you have an awesome show, and I've watched some of your YouTube videos. But where did this all start for you? What was it that what first got you into all this, and how old were you? Kind of walk us through some of your experiences that you've had.
Sure. Yeah, I was born and raised in Southern California. Mother was raised by a single mother since the age of 4 or 3. Up until about the age of, I want to say 13, when my stepfather kind of came into the picture. But before that, we moved a lot, and we sometimes would have a grandmother stay with us, or a grandpa, and my grandmother was practicing Santeria, which is a Spanish voodoo kind of stuff. And a combination of just her being around us, I would say, these things would start to happen. The very, very first thing that I ever saw or experienced was a little goblin creature. Had long orange nails, long pointy ears, very small in stature, and just kind of reached out to me, and then which quickly just vanished away, and then later it was seeing ghosts. Again, she was living with us, and I saw at one time I went to go get a Snicker bar from the nearest panderia, they would call, which was where you'd buy bread sweets. It's like it's basically a donut store, but it's a Spanish donut store.
Oh,
They
yeah,
would make like
I
these
love
little.
pan, like the classic pan. I like it.
Yeah, exactly. So I went and grabbed a Snicker bar from there, and it was coming back. And when I went through the front door, there was a man in a wheelchair sitting in our kitchen, which was like across the. There's like a living room, a dining room, and then it was the kitchen. And once I saw him, he turned and looked straight at me. He was cutting lemons. He stopped. He put the knife down and the lemon down. And then he just scooted his wheelchair out of my eyesight back into like the kitchen where I couldn't see him. And I like ran in looking for my grandpa because my grandpa was there at the time. And he was in his back room. And when I like asked him like, well, who's in the kitchen? And like we went in the kitchen, there was nobody in the kitchen.
Oh, weird.
And we didn't know anyone that, at the time that, was there on the wheelchair. And then it wasn't until years later, or maybe even later that summer, we ended up finding a wheelchair in the back. And the kids, because I lived across the street from a Catholic church that I went to, the school, the kids had told us that when I pointed out the house I lived in, they're like, "You live there?" They're like, "People die there," and I'm like, "What?" They're like, "Yeah, the ambulance showed up and they carried out 2 bodies out of that house." And so the kids like told us that like prior to us moving there, something happened to somebody and they were carried out on an ambulance bed. From there, I remember seeing it was Unsolved Mystery Special, and it was about Barney and Betty Hill. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it was about their abduction that happened to them. From that moment forward, I would have nightmares and dreams of
Also,
UFOs.
really quick, didn't they have, wasn't their alien experience kind of like almost goblin-esque? They had like the little ears hanging down and they almost said or something?
Right. Yeah. That is kind of how they described them. Is a very small in stature. I think it was
too far into your timelines of into that. How old were you when you saw this goblin thing and you said it like tried to reach out at you?
Yeah, so I was maybe, I want to say like 7, 8 years old. And it was at night. We were sitting on a couch and they had told me it was time for me to go to bed. So they kind of like pushed me off. And the hallway, it was like a home that had a very long hallway. It was like a duplex. Like, I don't know if you've seen those duplexes where there's like, you walk in the front door, there's your living room, and then you have a long hallway, and then usually there's like 1 or 2 beds connected with the bathroom somewhere in between, and at the very end is your kitchen. And so the hallway was very dark. They were watching TV, and it was like no lights on, so it was like dark, no lights. When I jumped up, that's when it like kind of popped out of the darkness and kind of tried to reach forward for me. And I like kind of jumped backwards. And the parents just kind of like, "Oh, you're fine. Like, you're good. Go to bed." And I remember like being terrified, but I just had to walk into it. And I just walked into it. And I was like a little kid, like praying. Walking into it and then went to bed. And
there was nobody else there. It was just
there's no one else there. No.
Scary. Yeah, that's a creepy experience.
Yeah.
So you're watching Betty and Barney Hill now, and how old were you at this point?
I had to been maybe like 9 or 10.
Okay.
And the episode from that moment forward, I just could not sleep right, and I would have very vivid dreams of like UFOs and like the windows being like brightly lit, and then that's usually when they were coming in or something. I was going to go out, and I would remember up until like, man, I want to say 15, I would still be running in my mom's house, her room, you know. And I would either sleep on the floor as I got older, or I'd still sleep on the bed with her. But it wasn't until somewhere in the military when I had my first UFO sighting near a military base multiple times. And then had an experience with a cousin of mine somewhere in Vegas years later after getting out of the military. And then had an experience with my wife in Sedona.
Well,
which was, very, very crazy. And then from that moment forward, something in me just said, start recording this. Start like this. It's happening, everywhere I go. Like it's not just happening in like very haunted locations. It's happening in my house. It's happening, at work. It's happening. It's happening everywhere. And so I just got into the mindset as like, just have, a camera and something ready. That way, all those people that you tried explaining this to, you could at least now try to show them and explain to them that like, this is kind of similar to what it's like. Just put your headphones on and watch the video, and you'll pretty much feel like you're in that location, and you can hear and kind of see why we're reacting the way we are when we're in those locations. And that's where I am now. Still having experiences, still. I think I told you about an interesting thing with my lamp. Did I tell you guys about that? Or it might be on one of the TikToks where a lamp moved in my house just recently, not that long ago. Like just tilted, stayed there at 45 degrees, and then just teetered right back. And went back to its normal position. And it's a lamp that's broken. Like, I don't know why we haven't thrown it out. I keep asking my wife, but she, like, wants to keep it until she replaces it with some other ones, I think. But we've had it for forever. And it just, it's the dogs ate through the wire. And so we just coil it up. But you try to tip it, it's rounded. So it will not stay. And this thing, like, was at a 45 and just stood there for, like, I don't know, maybe 3 seconds. And then teetered right back over. And we were talking to each other. And this happened right in between us. And I remember we, like, just kept talking.
What were you guys...
Almost like so shocking for it to happen. Our brain just didn't want to register it, I guess. And so we kind of ignored it and just kept talking. And then we got done talking. And then I looked at her and I was like, did you see that? And she like looked at me, she's like, the lamp? And I'm like, yes, the lamp. I was like, why did you say anything? She goes, I don't know. She goes, I thought it was the vents, because we had vents. And I'm like, I've never seen the vent AC turn on and blow the lamp over and balance itself before.
Yeah.
I was like, but okay. And so I try to balance it. Okay, what did you say? What did you say? Then what did you say? You said about the wind? Okay, now she said she didn't say anything. So you just stood there and didn't say anything? Oh, she said, yeah, I just said that was weird.
You guys when that happened? Like, do you remember? Was it just like a normal conversation, or were you guys?
Do you remember what we were talking about? She can't remember. I can't remember either.
It'd be memorable if you guys were talking about something crazy. So it's just a random. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, and you glazed over these or skimmed over them so fast, but I'm like, whoa, I'm writing it down in my head because I don't have anything to write it down on.
Yeah, no worries.
You had the military experience that you just like, I had this alien experience. Like, all right, what happened over there? Can you tell us?
Yeah, so this was Eielson Air Force Base, which is in what they consider the Alaskan Pyramid, which I can vouch that that is a very interesting area of Alaska. And if you just type it in Google, it'll pop up. It's pretty much near like Mount St. Denali, Fairbanks, Alaska. all the way stretching down near, not as far as Anchorage, but like near that region. I think like Nome, maybe Alaska. No, not Nome, because Nome's a little bit too further. But it's like in the dead center, pretty much, of Alaska. And there's a pyramid area in particular that has a lot of high strangeness. It's also rumored to be the location where the Black Pyramid is. I don't know if you've ever researched the Alaskan Black Pyramid that's supposed to be underground. That's that same area.
Okay.
So we were driving back. This happened several times to us. We were driving back to base late at night, probably like midnight, leading into like 3 in the morning. I was a good soldier. I barely drink and just go to the library. I used to drink at the library and then go straight home. I didn't never met any girls. Never went dancing. I just read at the library. And so on the way back home, it looked, because it's really dark where Eielson Air Force Base is. The nearest town is North Pole, they call it. That's probably like 30, 45 minutes away. And then the nearest town would be like Fairbanks, which is like 45 to an hour away. So when you got closer to the base, you were literally in the middle of nowhere. And I remember one of my friends like, wow, look at the moon. And he's looking like out the back. I had I think at the time it was a Ford Explorer.
Okay.
And he's looking out the back window, like the back right window. And I'm like driving, and I'm like, because I see the moon in front of us. I'm like, that's the moon. And he's like, well, what the fuck is that then? And I look and I see it looks like a large cylindrical like orb, but large. And it's just following us through the tree line. And we're like, what the fuck's? And the closer we got to the base, it all of a sudden just like darted away. And we drove back to the base, didn't say anything to the guard. We just kind of like brushed it off as something weird that happened. We talked about it to our friends, but we just left it at that. It happened several times, though. It happened like 2-3 other times. By the third time, we went to my sergeant. His name was Sergeant Homer. I'll never forget his name because of, Homer Simpson. So I told Sergeant Homer, I was like, we keep seeing this thing following us from the tree line. We don't know what the hell it is. We were wondering if we should report this to the commander. And he's like, you have 2 options. You can see your career go this way, or you can see your career go this way. He's like, if you further ask questions or press that matter that you're talking about, you'll see your career go this way.
Well,
if you just let it go and you just learn to just mind your P's and Q's, your career will go this way.
Jeez.
You got to make a choice. So we just fuck it. I was like, I'm not going to say anything. And we didn't say anything. We just kept it to ourselves.
so obviously, Sergeant Homer knows.
Yeah.
Well, he then told us his own experience. And it was, what base was this? Edwards Air Force Base.
Oh yeah,
and he worked there as a he was also a munitions specialist, but he was called the Line D driver, and they're people that basically bring the missiles and the rockets and the bombs and the bullets to the flat line for the craft to take off and load onto the craft. He doesn't load it, but he drops it off there. So one night at Edwards Air Force Base, he was told, I need you to go grab some rockets and go drop them off. And they go, but when you're out there, do not look up. And as a young airman, you say that to us, like,
yeah. How do you not expect to look up?
Yeah.
we're going to look up. And he said that when he got out there, he dropped the missiles. And when he walked over near his truck, before he jumped in, he looked up. And he said he saw like a craft looking object just zigzagging and just jumping around the sky. And he got back into his truck and just drove back to the building where he got the truck at, which is like the control room where they gave him the orders to go. As soon as he walked in, his sergeant looked at him and he goes, "You looked up." And he like couldn't hold it in. And the sergeant told him the same thing that he told us. You have two options. You could either ask questions and see your career go this way, or you could shut the fuck up and see your career go this way. And so that's what he did. He just didn't say anything.
So there's some high strangeness going on over there, and they're like just dealing with it. It sounds like, or maybe it is.
Well,
like, do you think it's military like cooperative, or do you think it's like they don't even know what to do with it?
so the rumor is, and as I at the time in the military, I didn't know this until later, but if you look it up, Lockheed Martin tests this out in Edwards Air Force Base, and Lockheed Martin is rumored to have a craft, and rumored to even have bodies. The craft that they supposedly had or have could have been one of those craft that was being tested out there. What he had seen is probably my best guess.
So you don't think it was alien? You think it was military personnel flying those things?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow, but it's stuff that we cannot even fathom as like our technology that they've given to the public, right? And that's why it's so weird. It's like, don't say anything because this is so different than
they haven't fully figured it out. And the rumor is that we're basically kind of like in a Cold War race again, but with Russia and China, where they're also trying to figure this out too. They're trying to figure out this technology, and whoever figures it out first is pretty much going to be the game changer for the rest of us.
And what year was this that you saw your experience?
Dude, I'm an old man, so I'm like, yeah, I'll say my age. I'm 41. I don't care. I'm an old man.
You don't look it. You don't look it. We talked about this.
Yeah, there's a fountain of youth. I can't tell you where it is. I'll age instantly if I tell you.
Oh no.
No, but the year was, I want to say maybe 2004. 2004, 2005.
Okay.
Maybe closer to 2005 actually. Yep.
Wow. So it's been going on for a while, and the Lockheed Martin thing, I know that's been in discussion for a while.
Well, I think it's a lot of bases, and like all over the country, there's a lot of weird stuff going on around military bases, and it's not just UFO stuff, but you get like Bigfoot stuff, and Dogman stuff, and all kinds of weird stuff.
So I don't know if I can say his name, so I'm just gonna say our military friend that we met in Phenomicon. He has several Dogman, Bigfoot sightings since a kid.
Yeah.
And he was on some like podcast too, Sasquatch Chronicles.
Oh yeah,
that's
the best Bigfoot one of all time.
That's what he was on. He was on one of those episodes about his sighting as a child, and it's pretty blood curdling. Like to hear his firsthand experience, and since then he's kind of opened up and told me a lot of interesting stories. Stuff's about our bases as well. Like there's stuff where like we catch each other like, should you be talking about this? like do I need to drop off my cell phone somewhere? Like should like
put it in the microwave?
Put it somewhere, yeah. Just fucking chuck it into the desert. Go find it later. But he has a lot of interesting stories as well when it comes to cryptics, and that's one of the main reasons why he wanted to go to Mount Wilson. It's just because of the high strangeness, the paranormal, but also the rumor that there's a cryptic out there as well.
That's cool. I didn't know he went with you guys to that. That's cool. So he
he did. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, he
on our show at some point. Definitely, we talked about that when we met him at Phenomicon. Super cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he gave us one of his experiences, like firsthand encounter kind of thing, and it wasn't the scary one, but it was still weird. It was a weird one.
Yeah.
And yeah,
was that the one with the river?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. But yes, okay. So you've had the military experiences. Sounds like there's
the Sedona one.
But also, real quick though,
Okay.
obviously we know this because we love this stuff, and we probably have all researched this for a while. But like the whole Roswell thing, S4, all the different Dulce, all the Havasu area, all the different things that are going on in those places. It's so we've obviously Bob Lazar, we've obviously reverse engineered stuff, and there's a bunch of backing behind that now. So, do you think, just like your own opinion, but do you think that a lot of the UFOs that we're seeing now are like us, or do you think that there's something else?
To be honest, I think it's a combination of the two.
Okay.
I think we're seeing some are our crafts as well as we'll just call them the others. There's a lot of different names that they used to call them. They used to call them the fast movers. There was another one that I don't know if it was the others, but it was the visitors. There's a lot of military terminology that they would use to describe those, like fast movers is what a lot of the USOs were called. The unidentified submersible objects.
Oh yeah.
Those are so creepy.
Bro, have you seen the videos where it's like in the ocean and they're in a boat or something and they see these like flashing lights in the water, and then it's like, what is that? And it's like so big, it's like a ship size underneath there, and it's like, and then you see those orbs coming out of the water all the time. There's the one video I saw where the reason I was saying a lot of this might be military is you see the ones where it's like our jets that that we know of, that we're privy to in civilization, and they're flying, and right in the middle of them is actual like UFO or full on disc shaped flying objects, and there's like 4 of them, and they're like escorting them to a place, but it's like, dude, that's our ships. Like you can tell, like we're just all like we're
testing them,
just testing us, you know?
Yeah, there's even, and it really confuses me for me to say this, because I've always tried to follow the truth. You know, I don't like spreading disinformation, they call it, or whatever. I don't like to just to tell a story just for the shock factor of it. But one of the things that really it seems like it might be true is the fact that there could be a division of the military, if not the private sector, that is working with a group. And sometimes when you see those escorts, those are usually the pilot doesn't know what he's doing. He's just told to escort this thing in. They don't know what it is. They just know that that's the order to do. They then see it. They then get debriefed in a very like a combative manner that
this way or this way again.
Exactly. Same. I think it's worse now. I think, when they're firsthand having to deal with it now, it's scarier, the predicament that they're kind of put into after. But that's what I kind of am starting to lean towards is
I can see that.
There really is this other group that,
like they kind of have like no authority,
like autonomous, like unchecked in a way.
Well, here's a crazy one. The trillions of dollars that went missing right before 9/11.
Yeah.
That like the Pentagon part of the sector of that building was even blown up or got hit by the plane, and that was where all the files were kept.
Yeah.
And they were just discussing that the day prior. Well, when you kind of like look at the paper trail, what the government was spending their money on, like up until that point and still to this point, is digging underground. And it seems as though there really might be a city underneath us. That is where they would go in the event that all the nukes fly and they need to go somewhere to lay low. They literally have a whole city infrastructure right below us.
Oh yeah, we've heard that from other people's podcasts, but also just research in general. Like they have the one in Pennsylvania or
Raven
something
Rock.
like Raven Rock. If you want to look that up, it's like a military base that's hidden like that. That's underground, and it's like what you said. It's full city down there. Like it's levels to levels to levels of just
and they got like greenery growing down there, like food, all that kind of stuff, and it's like literally like a vault, like a Fallout vault. We mentioned Fallout
Wow.
earlier when you talked about Good Springs, so I was like, yeah, that's funny. But yeah,
That's interesting stuff, and I appreciate you being the type that doesn't want to spread disinformation because, I mean, we feel the same way. We can always have our opinions and stuff, but if we're in these types of scopes where we're talking about this kind of stuff, we definitely want to be as truthful as possible so that we're not leading somebody down a weird rabbit hole that's not right. Um,
The
but I
rabbit
love,
holes are fun.
yeah, I love that we're having fun, having these cool
Yeah.
conversations. Dude, that's interesting stuff, man. I knew we were gonna have a good conversation with this.
well,
Yeah,
Aliens.
there's even a city. What's
oh,
that?
go ahead.
There's a story about a city in here in Nevada that has to do with Howard Hughes. And I don't know if you heard this story or if I told you the story,
I
but
think you told me off air back at that breakfast joint over in.
I think
Tell
so.
me again, that'd be awesome.
Okay, so Jeff told me this story that this story came from Howard Hughes' secretary, and she told a story of flying to the middle of the desert, which is where like Mount Wilson's ranch is, and flying onto an airport, but it was made out of dirt. It was just one runway, which Mount Wilson Ranch has, and you can see it where the old runway used to be. And she drove in a Jeep up a hill and then pulled over to a cement building. In the cement building, they opened the door, and there was a really creepy elevator that she was kind of scared to get onto. But she got onto it with Howard Hughes, and they went down really, really, really far down. And when the elevator doors opened, what they saw were people sitting at tables with umbrellas, just eating, having their lunch, and it looked like a full-on city. And Jeff, when he started, because he's now has good evidence to support that he knows where the elevator chute is, where the location is. And when he started digging there, he started pulling out tractors, pieces of trucks, pieces of like a whole rail cart. Like it's the most bizarre stuff. But then amongst all that stuff, he also pulled out what looks to be like an old cement lamp, like from like the movies, the ones that are like really beautiful and big, made out of cement, and they kind of like curl over like flowers, and then you have like where the bulb is, where it would hold up.
Yeah.
It's like that, and that's similar to what she had described seeing, were street lamps, like very immaculately like looking, almost like European, which is what this thing looks like.
But these people, did she say like that they were like surprised to see them? Like, whoa, like we're
No,
no,
no, because I think she was with Howard Hughes, so she's just that's Howard
like he
Hughes.
goes there all the time, or he was going there all the time, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. Like in the middle of the desert, Nevada. I mean, I'm not surprised because Nevada is always a place for testing. Like, you know what? All three of us here, we could survive the freaking apocalypse because all of us have been around radioactive activity for way too long. So
That's true.
yeah, we're the last ones in the ghouls. Yeah, we're gonna survive it all. No, that's interesting, bro. That's really, and I do remember that story now. Now that you told that, and it's cool that he's like finding artifacts that are still like relevant to that.
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And then I guess the last story would be Sedona. If you want me to tell
tell
that
us
story.
about Sedona, and I guess what year was that when that happened?
Sedona was 2017, I want to say.
Okay,
Which that's interesting.
so Sedona, Arizona, right?
Sedona, Arizona. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
This happened in May, I want to say May like 13th, 14th, around there. And I think it was one of the very first times we had been there. Was that the first time we went to Sedona, love? Okay. Yeah, it was the very first time we even went to Sedona.
Okay.
And she thinks 2018, 2019. I think 2017. I could be wrong. But around that time frame, let's just say.
You're wrong.
And
You're always
yeah, I know. Like that's the thing about my wife. If I lie, she will point it out. She will say, "No, that's not how it happened," or "That's not what he said."
That's a good woman. That's a good woman in general.
Yeah, like so the fact that she was there to see this, everything I'm about to say.
Yeah.
So we stayed at an Airbnb. And Airbnb was kind of like down the street, away from downtown Sedona. So have you guys been to downtown Sedona?
I've never been to Sedona or have a Supa. I want to go to both.
Okay. So the main Sedona road where all the shops and everyone kind of eats and all that kind of stuff. It's like a 2-lane road. And so you go past that, and then there was like 2 roundabouts, and then you made a right, and it was like your first left. And so it was like a little like residential area right near downtown, and at an Airbnb. And the Airbnb had like, I think the owner owned 3 properties there, because there was like 3 other like places that you could stay in, and they're like they're kind of cool looking. They're like mixed, like modern mezzo,
the hacienda look kind of too.
Yeah, and they had a moon roof. Like, it was really nice. Like, we could fall underneath the stars, which kind of freaked us out because about what I'm about to tell you.
Yeah.
So we put our stuff in, and the front door entrance, you would have steps. You'd go down, and then right there in front of you was a grill, so you can cook chicken or cook whatever. We decided to cook chicken, so cooking chicken on the grill. I have a glass of wine. I've had like maybe like 1-2 sips. And over to my right, I see, just like, because there's so many stars, when you're in Sedona, and it's really beautiful. And I remember seeing one star just like not staying still, like just very slightly moving, just
kind of
tiny,
a little jig, like
a little jig. And so I just stare at it, and then, without saying anything out loud, it's all in my head, I was like, "Come over, land," and then a part of me was like, "Yeah, no." I thought that same thing.
That was psychotic right there.
Yeah, I was like, "No, don't land, but flash us, and then shoot off faster than I know even possible, and that from that way I'll know that you are what I think that you are." And maybe like, I don't know, 10, 15 seconds later, it starts moving. Uh-huh. And so it's now like, it looks like a satellite. It's just a dot just kind of moving across the sky. And in that moment, I always told myself, like we've been talking about, capturing it, getting it on video, getting the audio, getting some kind of evidence. But in that moment, I was like, if I look down, I might not be able to remember where it is in the sky. If I pull out my camera, what if I can't focus on it, and then I just have a really shitty video that, I should have just paid attention with my own eyes. And so the next best thing that I could think of was my wife, getting another human to see this experience, and that way I can bounce ideas off of them. And so I told Erica, "Come here," and I pointed it out, and I asked her, I was like, "What do you think it is?" And we started asking ourselves, like, is it a plane? Is it a helicopter? And as we're like talking to each other, trying to figure it out, it stopped directly above us. And then the next thing that happened was, the whole sky was now blacked out, covered by this football field size oval, goldish in color. It was like directly above us.
Yeah.
It took a photo, like a flash, and then it shot off and created an arch, and then it was gone. And then from the spot where it took off, it was like someone lit a fuse, and that line followed itself the same path, and then the line was gone.
That's weird.
Oh, that's so like, yeah, like that light just kind of went away in the same path.
in the same path from where it started from.
At the beginning, yeah.
So it was like, and then followed it.
And then it was just completely gone at that point. No,
just gone. And I've been around planes. I've been around, like, this was after the Air Force. So I was like, the big thing that really troubled me was like, for it being that big, for it moving that fast, it should have shot us to the ground. Like the inertia probably should have killed us.
Thinking of normal propulsion, that would be true. Yeah.
But nothing, not a sound, no feeling, nothing. And I remember the really funny thing is, right after that happened, we decided to go for a walk to just like, what the fuck just happened? And we were walking out to the street, and this other couple come out from the other Airbnb, and they're like, "Hey, you guys seen anything cool tonight?" And me and my wife just like laughed, and we're like, "Yeah, just look up at the stars." And we didn't want to tell them. We didn't bother to tell them because like then they won't believe us. So we just kept walking.
What if they're like, we did, and the stars were gone, and somehow covered the whole sky?
They honestly saw something. They were trying
they saw something.
And then they were probably super let down that you guys didn't say anything because they're like, man, we're gonna sound like freaks too. You know?
Yeah, we just decided not to share it with them. We just kept walking.
That's crazy.
That little archway thing is so weird. That like little arch thing, like it creating its own gravity pathway.
Yeah, it
like
reminds
where like it sucks it in after.
Kind of. Well, do you remember Star Wars?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So you know how like they go light speed and it creates that line of light. So imagine one though, just one in the path that it took.
Yeah, exactly.
And then once it took off, right after that, that's when this part started to follow it.
That's like exactly how I pictured it in my head.
Follow the path, not quickly either. Just like that, not quickly.
I was thinking quicker, like.
It could have been. To me, it felt like it was definitely a lot slower than how fast it took off. Let's just say that. Like when it took off, it was like boom, boom, gone. And then this was like, okay, like a second later, then it went and followed it.
Well, we know how fast planes are moving in the air, and they look like they're going 20 miles per hour from way down here.
That's true.
So maybe that light that was going like thousands of miles per hour, but it looks like it was going, way less than,
I had to, I could concur with that. Yeah.
Wow, that's insane. I don't know. That's gonna mess with me for a while. I think I'm gonna be thinking about that for a while. The pathway thing, just the end part of it.
Well, and how big?
How
big that was.
Size. That's massive.
Yeah, there's a part that I forgot to tell you. So when it started to come down, so there was no moment I felt fear. I didn't feel like this thing was there to hurt me, kill me. I had no fear. However, once it got down kind of low, my wife grabbed me, and she said, "I'm scared." When she did that, that was the moment that my heart dropped, because I was like, what am I gonna do? Like if they come down and say, "Hey, she's going with us," I'd be like, "Bring her back before 10." Like what am I gonna do? These guys are in a craft. Like, there's nothing we could do. And so I just remember thinking like, "Fuck, I fucked up." And once it took off, then I felt fine. But that was the one moment where I did feel a lot of fear and felt like I fucked up.
Like it was like a sobering moment because you're like, crap.
It was.
What can I do here? Like literally, I'm a sitting duck.
Yeah, I mean, up until that moment, that was the first time I had that kind of experience where the craft came very close that I can remember, happening. So it was exciting for me, but because I still talk about it to this day.
Yeah.
But it was kind of hurtful, I think, and maybe even selfish for me to if I caused that,
Well, that's
selfish that it could have.
It's like you actually. It's like they could hear you, like they could telepathically know that you were.
That's what freaked me out too. Is how I said it. in the way I said it, exactly what it did.
Yeah. Do you know? Have you looked into the CE5 events, like the Stephen Greer stuff?
So that's kind of what I was doing before that. Before I went to
Okay, so
Sedona.
you are familiar with that, because me and
Yeah.
Roman have thought, man, like that's like not ridiculous. Honestly, we're like that's scary. Like you do that,
Because
you're gonna get something because it seems like it does happen. Yeah, and and I don't know, man. That's what it sounds like happened. It's like, oh, that's kind of scary. But
yeah, it's something I'll say. I mean, for me, and I think for anyone that just has it's the intent. A lot of it has to do with the intent. But yeah, be careful what you wish for, because like once you kind of start going down that path, there's no going back.
it reminds me of there was these two ducks. You know how ducks mate for life, and it sounds like you and your wife are really close and everything. There was this couple, a duck. It was just a male duck and a female duck. And it just reminded me of this that you were saying, like the fear of it, like after you realized, oh crap, I'm putting my wife in danger and stuff. There's this, like, literally, I walk outside of this duplex I was living in, and there's this duck, like, couple sitting there. This is, like, kind of comical, but all of a sudden I just keep seeing them go, like, I'm like, what are they looking up at? They just keep doing this, like, every.
Oh, that's so cute.
So I look up in the sky, and there's a huge hawk up in the air.
Oh.
But the two ducks are both going the whole time, like, keeping an eye on.
No.
And I've never seen prey do that, like feel that fear. Like I could see that they were fearful of something. I looked up and I'm like, oh, it's a hawk. They're like worried about this hawk.
Yeah.
And the hawk was like, dude, 100 feet up. Like you had to like squint. Oh, there's a hawk right there. And
yeah, wow.
I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Pray. I think pray when you're in that moment where you don't know what could possibly happen to you.
Yeah.
Your animal instincts do kick in.
Yeah, so that reminded me of like a synonym of the situation or whatever, it was like a very similar thing. But
so when you were doing the CE5 things, did you ever have any weird stuff? Like, did that happen before where you were able to kind of call something in?
No, that was the first time. Okay. And to be honest, I've tried it a couple other times, and let's just say one of the times something did happen out of the two times that I tried again since. The last time I tried, I didn't really put as much time into it that I did the first two times. That could be why. But it's something that like I have now learned that like I gotta like not limit it, but just be careful when I do it and where I do it, because
it's like you're summoning, and that's a little scary when you think about it, especially if you're coming from a religious background and you understand there's demonic entities that exist, and the fact that you can summon these things is kind of weird.
Well, and how the government's now saying it's interdimensional. They don't even think it is from outer space anymore. And so it's like that's another weird thing. It's like, and I've been thinking that for a while, to be honest, but I don't know. It's hard to say, but that is like, it's weird because there's so many weird connections like that. And yeah, I mean, I'm not knocking on people that do think they're from space. There could be some from space. But like the fourth kind, right? How it's like, I don't know if you've ever seen that movie, but
I have, yeah.
It looks like they're getting like demonically possessed, not abducted. So I'm like, oh, this is a very similar thing. And they even said on that movie, because that's all real accounts, right? And I think that was in Alaska too.
It was in Nome, yeah.
Yeah. They were saying they were speaking old Sumatran, or what's the old
Sumerian.
Yeah. And they were saying we are God and all that stuff. I'm like, eh. So I don't know. There's some weird connections there, and I'm still not sure where I stand with that. But where do you stand with that?
To be honest, I think there's just like there's yin and yang. I think there's good and evil.
Yeah,
and I think just because there might be demonic entities, in my opinion, that means that they're more than likely there's angels as well.
Yeah.
And I think for most people, when you have an experience, you can tell the difference of the two. But at the same time, this is something that has been known to trick and deceive people at the same time. So I would always just say, like, for me, I have a very strong faith system. Like, I constantly wear, like, a rosary. Like, I feel like the rosary is pretty much my sword of armor, I would say. And then I have, like, a St. Michael's my mom gave me, and then my grandmother gave me St. Christopher. And so I have a strong faith system. I know who my Lord Savior is. I don't have, I don't have no shame of saying and declaring it in any manner. I don't preach. I feel like, sometimes people just get really turned off with that. But I think if you just show yourself you're genuine in what you believe in, if people are curious and ask, I have no problem talking about it or saying it.
Well, we've said it on our podcast, like if you say, the name Jesus Christ, like things get changed quick. Like,
Yeah,
they do.
especially with the intent and the beliefs.
Exactly.
Like you have to believe it, obviously.
They do. I can completely attest to that. Yep.
And you know what I can say? Because I know we had that conversation too. One of my favorite, I don't know if this is an actual quote from you or not, but I think it was. It was when you were doing the clown motel thing, and you said when you were doing the clown motel, which is a paranormal investigation.
We should talk about that in a minute too.
You were saying that it reminded you that fear isn't proof of evil; it's the body's reaction to mystery. If you approach with empathy instead of challenge, you'll learn more about what's actually there. Is that kind of a quote you actually said?
I think I might have I think I read that somewhere.
But I like that quote because that's exactly what you're saying. Like there is good, and if you go with the right intent, like dude, that can change things. Like
I think that was the time I was talking to Jared about it, because the Clown Motel, in my opinion, has a little bit of both. I think you have a little bit of tricksters, I like to call them. Not necessarily evil, but I think sometimes on the other side, these things some of them get bored and they start to become a little bit on the trickster side. And for some individuals, they can seem like it's more demonic, but for me, it seems like they're more playful. It depends on the situation. I mean, when you start getting scratches and you start getting pushed and shoved downstairs or something like that, then you got a different thing that's happening.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and what I can say is like on the paranormal side, I can concur with that because we did a investigation with Geo here at Space Wolf Research, and there was a part of it where
that's right.
Like talking to these entities, whatever they were. We were on the Spirit Talker app, which we've used actually after that.
And I've been using it ever since.
And it's awesome. Like,
it's awesome, right? Yeah.
Cool stuff. We did an investigation up in the Sequoias when we were up on vacation, and we caught some cool stuff. But when we were at the Space Wolf Research with you, which buds up against Skinwalker Ranch, you guys can check out our YouTube video. Geo has a video where he did the full documentary of it, which was super cool to see, by the way.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
there's more to come with that one too.
I love that. And so as we were, walking down this little pathway, you'll remember this. We're like talking to this, whoever's there, and it said, "Hey, look over here. Look to your right." So our entire group looks to the right. You remember that? We all look to the right, and it says "Hi" or something like that. And then we're like, "Whoa!" Hello. It said hello, and we're like, "Oh, hello, who's this?" Whatever. And then like halfway, 20 seconds later, so it said, "I don't like these investigators," and it said,
"That's right."
Talker, and we're like, "No way." And then we started feeling kind of a different experience, like a deeper, darker kind of thing. But then as we left, we get up to the top of the trailer, and as we're leaving, it just says, it says something like, "I don't want you guys to go. I've been here 100 years. I died here," like all that kind of weird stuff towards the end.
Yeah.
And in between that whole area, when you actually gave me the Spirit Talker box, which you guys can see on our YouTube, he handed it to me. And when I grabbed it, it said twins. Right when I grabbed it.
And I was standing right next to him too. Like
that's right.
And that was right when Jeff was telling us that this tree has a lot of weird stuff happening near it.
Wow.
And yeah, that was crazy.
That sounded like a mix of a bunch of different things. Like, and none of it might have been evil.
Right.
But it just had that mysterious sound scary if you're not sure what it is. Right. So
yeah, it's on the video when I was with the detective from Tennessee and his son. What was the name of that group?
Beyond the Map. Oh, Beyond the Map.
Beyond the Map. That's it. Yes. Okay. So Beyond the Map podcast. Is it podcast?
I think it is Beyond the Map podcast. Yeah.
Okay. So Beyond the Map podcast. I was with them, and me and the dad. We could hear. It sounded like a blowhorn or an animal like moaning, like a really long time. like howling almost. And we first heard it, and then
I heard it too. It was in the bushes to the left when we were coming down the hill.
Yeah, I heard it too.
And then I think Darren had the little microphone thing, or the parabolic, and you could hear it in there. He's like, I can hear it audibly. I was like,
yeah, it's on the video. It's on there. Like if you put headphones on, when I say to put them on, like you could really hear it, and it's one of the most creepiest things I've heard.
Kind of thing.
So yes, and it's funny because did you guys meet Arnie from Strange Basin?
I met him there. We weren't in the investigation with him, but I met him at the Phenomenon for sure.
So I just did a podcast with him last weekend, and we talked about hearing that same sound at Mount Wilson. Same exact whooping sound. And for me, I have a video of that too. But for me, that happened every time I went to Mount Wilson and I stayed up past 3 o'clock. It's when it would usually come out. And it would always do the same whooping, calling sound thing. And I started... Do you guys remember when I was whistling at Space Wolf Research? And it was funny because everyone was telling me, like, don't whistle out here. Don't whistle out here. And I didn't know. I didn't know any of that lore. And so I'm just like whistling like crazy, like doing the Native American whistle. Well, when I did that at Mount Wilson, I would always get a reaction from it every single time. Until one time when I had a recorder. I hit record. The second I hit record, dead silent. Stopped.
It just stopped
altogether. Yep. And, since then, Jeff, this past winter, which kind of makes me want to go out there in the wintertime because I've never been during the winter. But this past winter, he actually did find footprints that big near what he considers the shaman cave. Let's say like 10 foot, about like 14 like foot type of foot, huge. And I think it has 6 toes, which is similar to what they describe these creatures having. And which is not far from where the cabin and where we were hearing all this stuff. So it just, to me, like further confirms that there is something large there hanging out. Probably a family or who knows.
But it is like a barefoot human looking foot, but six toes.
6 toes. Yep.
Okay.
Did you guys have any experiences during your Halloween event up there? Like any weird stuff?
One that I can remember because we drank a lot. Not gonna lie, we drink a lot.
Hey, that's what you do when you're hanging out with buddies on Halloween.
Yeah,
totally.
But one thing that did happen the next day. So the saloon is a spot that dates back to I think it's from like the late 1800s, early 1900s when it was brought over, because that whole area, maybe it was a little bit later, but it's dated back to that time period. The room where the bar is, that a lot of those photos were taken. I went in there in the morning by myself to grab some juice. There's some juice in the fridge there. And so I went to the front by the bar, and in the corner, I could hear knocking. Like, tick, 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 tick. And I just started laughing. I was like, oh, because I've been there so many times that I'm kind of like used to them. And so I kind of like, oh, you guys want to play the knocking game? I was like, okay. And I went, dun, 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 dun. And then you hear, dun, dun. I was like, you son of a gun. And I just got my juice. I was like, all right, see you later. And I knocked again, and I heard knocking again. And I just left.
Dude, really quick, that reminds me of, because we were talking off air about my work and how there's like weird haunted stuff going on over there. And my coworker I had my Spirit app, the Spirit Talker app open. Sometimes okay. Work just to see what happens, right?
Yeah.
Walking to the back where the copier is, and Anna, my coworker, she's following me because she was going to go grab something from the copier, and I have it. She doesn't know I have it on. And all of a sudden I hear this loud knock, like on the wall, right next to where Anna was. Mm-hmm. And it was like right behind where we had just walked, you know? And all of a sudden the Spirit Talker says knocking. Because I was like, I like freaked out. I was like, did you hear that?
Oh.
Knock? And then it just says knocking, like on the spirit.
Oh, wow.
So like sometimes that thing's really legit. And so I have that still saved on the transcripts. It's really cool.
There's one time I was at Overland Hotel. If you guys never been to Overland, I highly suggest you guys go. It is very, very, very haunted in Pioche, Nevada. I wanted to hear my name through the spirit talker, because it was like kind of around the first time I started using it. So I was getting really excited at how like accurate it is. And so I was like, say my name. And sure enough, it goes Geo, and it's on video. It freaked me out. I was like, there's no way that word's in there. Yeah. It's just a weird name. Yeah, like and it was right after me asking it is what really, really got me. So that app,
it's legit.
Whoever made it.
It's pretty good. It's pretty legit. See, I was trying to have it say Anna's name, my coworker, and it said Ava, and her name is spelled A-N-A. It's just Anna.
So it's close.
And I'm like, I think it was trying to say Anna. Like, I think it was trying
to
interesting. Instead,
Wow.
So it's pretty real. It's pretty legit sometimes.
Yeah, it's a fun little device for sure.
One thing I wanted to, because I'll be remiss if I don't ask this, and I know that we had talked about it off air, and it's one of my favorite stories you told me before. So if you don't want to name names, that's fine. But there was a conference over in, I think, Mount Wilson Ranch or somewhere there.
Yeah.
We want to allude to that last one, and we could get closer to ending if you're okay with that.
Yeah, sounds good. So, just going to challenge down real quick. 1 second.
I see how you are.
Gotta have those.
Not bad.
I should have kept
a little snack. So, this happened at Mount Wilson's Ranch. And this happened, Jeff describes it, and Jeff has told me I'm allowed to say names, so I'll keep his girlfriend out of it.
Okay.
We'll just say his girlfriend, because she is kind of shy. So Jeff was just bought the ranch, and so this is shortly after, and he was telling me how he was getting a lot of weird guests in that earlier period. Just people like that would just, oh, you buy the ranch now, okay, and just would talk to him about the ranch. Well, this really nice car pulls up, and out walked one of the Rockefellers with a very good-looking, tall, tiny waist, though. Tiny waist. Like doesn't look, it should be normal. And was wearing sunglasses. And she came in, and she didn't speak. And she was staring at Jeff and his girlfriend, like, intently. Like, just the entire time, just, like, piercing through him. To the point where Jeff's girlfriend walked out, and she just couldn't be in the room anymore. And they were talking about Tartaria. They were talking about the underworld. And they talked about Mount Shasta and how, there's an underworld there, and Grand Canyon and Mexico, and they just talked about how there's this whole other city underneath, and it's where some humans get picked and they get to mate with the other creatures and stuff like that. And
where did they just get off just telling him all this stuff out of nowhere? Like, that's the crazy thing.
Yeah, once you meet Jeff, it might make a little sense. Jeff is like very open to book kind of guy, very like go lucky, just easy to talk to kind of person. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if maybe it was like the passing of the torch because of what that location is, maybe to a lot of people. Maybe he just like, hey man, you're now part of this, whether you know it or not, kind of like passing the information to him or something. But after the conversation, the last thing they say to him is like, okay, well, before we go to bed, we just want to go check out the portal. We'll be back.
This is the part I was gonna validate.
And
Yeah, I knew you were gonna. I was hoping you'd bring this part up because that's what blew me away too.
So they get up and they just walk directly out of the saloon and they walked like down the driveway towards his shed, which we believe, as well as Jeff, there really is a portal there. We just don't know how to open it. We don't know how to activate it. He has had things just manifest in that area that just pop out of nowhere. And other people who have been on the ranch who are with Robert Bigelow has also said the same thing of that same area. So there's a lot of like collaborating stories that are all pointing towards this one part of the ranch where we believe, which is where they were walking to. We don't know what they did or how, but they right after that they came back to the ranch. They went to sleep and then they left early in the morning. And one of the things that Jeff laughs about, he's like, because when you go to the ranch, like I paid Jeff to stay there, like kind of like like renting out an Airbnb,
Right.
but Jeff is so like kind of nice about it that like you could pay him for one night and probably stay for like 3 or 4. Like he really doesn't care. But this guy, a Rockefeller, having as much money as he did, he just left. Didn't pay Jeff anything. Just left. Stopped by, got the information he wanted, and took off.
So this guy, like, was he invited? Was he invited beforehand, or did he
No,
show up and just?
no, he just showed up. No call, no nothing. Just cold call. Just showed up.
Wow.
And you
And
said the
because
girl was super strange to like the biggest part you said was the waist thing because like
yes,
birthing hips for a
Well,
reason, but like women
unnatural.
have is yeah.
Yeah.
But then there was nothing. It was just very skinny. Like
very very tiny. Like his girlfriend was like when she told this side of it, because I'd ask her like, "Is this true? Is this what she looked like?" And she's like, "Tiny waist, tiny." She was not real. Because as a girl, she's like, "That's not real."
So we
No
did
one can get a waist like that.
we did an episode pretty early on in our show. I don't remember what episode it was, but we talk about aliens dressing up as humans, like in
Yeah.
disguise kind of thing. Because there was all these cool stories that we found, and a lot of them actually were from Nevada stories. Like there was
Yeah.
ones like where they're on the strip, and you wouldn't be able to tell because they're wearing like big sunglasses and you know stuff that kind of hides a little bit, so you can't tell, but they look a little off. You
I
know,
got a weird one.
how often is that happening? Probably it is.
So Jeff. So one thing about Jeff that I didn't know till I found out like just recently is Jeff used to work for Robert Bigelow. He used to tint the government vehicles for Robert Bigelow. That's how they kind of met. And during one of those times when they're out in the ranch or just tinting these trucks, they end up speaking to one of the security guards and had told him a story about this bus duty that he would have to do. And they ended up talking to another bus driver who described this all happening. The story is that these yellow buses would drive onto the test range site and they would pick up people. And the bus driver would be told, don't turn around. Like when they load in, just go. Don't stare at them in the mirror. Just don't stare at them, period. And one of the bus drivers was driving and he's like, oh, this feels weird. I got to pull over. And just got out to check on the engine and looked up and noticed that they weren't talking to each other. Like they were just facing forward. He's like, it didn't look, there wasn't anything about them that looked like they weren't not human, but just by the way that they were acting, just didn't feel like they were human. And they went to a clinic, like some weird clinic, and they would come out hours later and they would be a little bit more chatty and they'd be chatting with each other. And then they would drive them to like a saloon, like a really old saloon. And they would all get out and then they would sit at the bar and they would just like watch people. And then after a couple minutes or maybe an hour, maybe less, they would go back onto the bus, and then they would drive them back to the test range and drop them off.
Weird. It's like they're trying to learn how to be like normal human behavior, but like when they're just in that bus, they don't do it because there's no eyes watching them. So they're just
yeah. I feel like the clinic is what like helps them open up to start talking, and then like once they do that,
somebody says hi, you need to say hi back.
Yeah, like they have a crash course real quick, like little video that.
Yeah, and then you try to see if they can integrate with humans, I guess.
No way.
Wow, that was awesome, man. That's interesting. So we're talking about the same Jeff we met, right?
No,
a different Jeff.
This is a different Jeff.
This is a different Jeff.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I was getting so confused. I know Jeff's such a common name, but
yeah. So this is Jeff McBurney.
Okay.
He's the owner of Matt Wilson's ranch.
Okay. Yeah, we haven't met him yet, but that's yet. I'm saying yet.
Yeah, you guys are more than welcome to come. You guys just let me know when you guys want to go, and I'll take you and introduce you to Jeff.
Sweet. See, we wanted to go for Halloween, but we were out of town. But we definitely wanted to go, and I know you guys invited us. That would have been fun. But next time,
you guys would have had a blast
for sure.
And I'd love to see all those old, like you said, all those old saloons, and do some paranormal investigating, and that'd be a lot of fun. So,
yeah, there's a lot of places from me to you. Do you guys know about the Garrison UFO crash?
I've heard of it. But
I have heard of that. Yeah.
Can you just do a little synopsis? I know I've heard of it though.
It was 1940s, 1950s. A UFO crashed near Garrison, Utah, and it was so large that they had to bury it. And now there's a Utah Department of Agriculture tests experimental facility there that has these really old buildings, but like have brand new doors with cameras all over the doors, so like they can see whoever's going in and out of them. And the story is that there's a UFO crash that's there, and that one of those buildings has an elevator, and the elevator would take you down to the level where this craft is housed. And they're still testing on it. They're still trying to figure it out, but it's so large that they had to just leave it. And that's what Garrison, Utah is. And you could Linda Moulton Howe, which is the creator of Coast to Coast, as well as Ancient Aliens. She's the producer of that. She's talked about it. John Lear from I think it's Lear Aircrafts. His father was a part of I believe that CIA spy plane craft, but John Lear. But he talks about the building and the going down to a lower level, and that's where the craft seems to be. And there's a YouTube video that just popped up. I want to say it was 10 days ago, but it's more like probably like 20 or 15 days ago, that covered all of this perfectly. And the weird thing for me that really made my blood turn into, or my skin turn into chicken, was a couple days prior to me seeing that YouTube video, our veteran buddy from Phenomicon, he was talking about it. And he heard it from one of his buddies who's still in the agency. Told him, like, gave him the coordinates and said, "Hey, do you know about this? Like, it's kind of cool, like, if you don't know about this." And then I remember pressing him, like, because I didn't want him to know too much, but I'm like, where is this again? Like, and since I saw that video popped up 2 days after me talking to him, I watched it, and I was like, wait a second. And I started asking him, is it near this? Is it near Garrison? Does it look like this? Does it look like this? And he's like, yeah, exactly. I was like, you need to watch this. And then I sent it to him, and he's like, oh, that's it. Yep, that's it.
Wow. So corroboration again, which is super cool.
I'm checking out that video after this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll send you guys a link. I'll send you guys a link of it.
And then send us other things you want to send us, but I guess we'll kind of end it on this because it is a little more than an hour and a half, and I appreciate you taking the time. What else would you like the listeners to know? How can we find you? All that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you can find me on Eerie Expeditions on YouTube. This is kind of what it looks like.
Hey,
So if you guys are audio only, it's a ghost, it's a UFO, and a Bigfoot all together.
Yeah, you can find me on Eerie Expedition on YouTube. I'm Geo Baja on Facebook. I do have a Twitch where I do stream and play games and just act like a fool because when you do paranormal stuff, sometimes you need to like flip the other side to feel better again. And so I do a lot of gaming streaming on it's Yost Jr., which Yost is actually all I have 4 names. I have a last name, I have 2 middle names, and then my first name. So it's all together YOAS Junior at twitch.com. And then Instagram, it's also, I believe, Eerie Expedition. TikTok, it's Eerie Expedition and the host of Eerie Expedition. And that's where you can find me.
awesome.
Yeah, and he does have some really cool stuff. I follow him on TikTok and YouTube, and I've yet to watch some more of the YouTube stuff. But send us what you can, brother, and we're looking forward to hanging out with you at Mount Wilson or wherever else we end up seeing you again. But thanks for taking the time. And do you have anything else you want to say? Any other plugs or anything?
I just want to say, well, thank you to you guys for hosting me and having me on your guys' podcast. It's been a lot of fun, and it's always nice talking to you guys. You guys, it took so many years to find a group like you two. So
I know.
nice.
Now we're here, so now we can't waste it.
Yeah, I agree. And like, I do plan to go see JJ. And go look for Bigfoot. So you guys need to come for that trip.
Yeah, because that's Jaron too. He's another Jaron, and I've been meaning to get with him as well.
Oh, yeah, that guy's awesome. Yeah, we got to.
Yeah, we definitely need to coordinate and do that. And then Mount Wilson, you guys tell me when you're coming, and I'll coordinate it and get you guys situated for that. And then whenever I go up to Utah, I'll hit you guys up.
Hey, you're welcome.
I have some time coming up. Probably like in because I'm away from the holidays, we're getting kind of close to them. But like I'd say January, definitely February, March, whenever. Like I could pretty much live inside of my truck right now. I'm trying to get it. I even have a space heater, which was like that's how I kind of survived when I went to Mount Wilson. But our military buddy, he went out with us, and he wanted his own room, and I get it, and there was just so many people there, so I just left in my truck. And it was nice. Like I had a space heater, I had a blow up mattress, and I just put the seats down in the back, dude. I was out.
Nice.
I did hear like footprints and stuff walking around the truck at night, and I don't know if it was somebody or if it was just what, but it was like late, probably like 4:30 in the morning, I'd say.
Well, be safe, but if you do come around here, there is a place you can stay at my place, so you're always welcome to. But I appreciate it, man. Thanks for taking the time. I'm sure we'll see you soon, and yeah, man, we'll talk to you soon for sure.
Yeah, let me know if you guys come to Vegas. I can always find you guys a place, or I could talk to my wife and see if I can get you guys to stay here too.
Sounds good. Sweet.
Yeah, always got to get the generals to stay though.
Cat and Gio, we'll talk to you soon.
Have a great night.
All right, guys. Have a good night. Thanks again, guys. Later.
Later.